We live. Alright. Let's let Discord know. Let's see. Guitar command. Guitar command is up to date. Two pedals. A real job. This is the best thing. You know, I can start whenever I want and it's on time. Let's see, what do we have? In front, we have an Emma Pizdeyawatt into a Hotwire Audio FA1 FET amp clone, and then in the loop, same old Riff. Pedals up to date. Almost tempted to change the strings on this guitar like right now. It'll be really exciting for everyone, I'm sure. But they are definitely dead as heck. But anyway, what's up with you, Alec? Alright, so that's our pedal overdrive. Let's compare that with... Oh, our crunch channel gain is turned all the way down. That's right. That's our lead channel gain. So we probably want to stay on the crunch channel. For the moment. Spiraling? What do you mean spiraling? Let's see. Let's jump over on Facebook. Oh, what's wrong? What's causing it? Just work? Dang, third on the list. Just going a little crazy. Being cooped up. That's not good. I mean, bro, of course, if you need to talk, you can always call me or text me or message me or whatever. Can't have you going bonkers. Yeah, I don't really mind the I don't mind the being stuck at home so much either. I mean, obviously, I'd like to go out, go out to eat again and go out to guitar stores and stuff again, but for the most part, I'm pretty okay just like, reading and watching movies and stuff. Like actually catching up on things. Like I've watched a good 300 movies since lockdown began, probably. Bro, Grim, what is up? Coming back in with the resub. That is amazing. Thank you so much for that, Grim. Enjoy the whatever this thing is. Always glad to have Grim here. Need to back the camera up a little bit more. Maybe tilt it down a little. Everybody loves that. Wow, man, that boost makes this sound a million times better. So check this out. This is without the Fed amp clone in front. This is just the dry rhythm channel or crunch channel. This is with the boost. Like it just fills out. Like the mids, to me, the crunch channel on this preamp, the mids are in a very strange place. Like the bandwidth of the mid range is in kind of an odd place, and it makes them kind of chanky. But then this just seems to sort of fill in the space around them. You cut the lows a little bit. There we go. Really fine tweaks though, like the EQ on the preamp is a little odd too, just in general in terms of how it adjusts, and doesn't change like the way that you would expect it to on like a typical amplifier. At very small tweaks in very specific areas of the pot travel have unexpected results. Like sometimes it'll be like they're doing nothing, and other times you'll get really big adjustments, or really pronounced. I guess because it sits in the context of all the frequencies in a certain place, so some of them will naturally be more audible than others. Why are you acting like it's something you ain't done before? Let's bring the treble down a little bit. Hey, Ryan, what's up? Just wait till you see what this guitar really looks like. It actually does hurt to look at in bright sunlight in the daytime. This webcam can't really even deal with it though. Like it's you can tell it's all sort of like overexposed or whatever. Picking hand's feeling a little bit off today. Wonder what's up. Yeah, this is actually a Dayglow paint. This finish, the Desert Sun Yellow, the Shocking Pink, and the Loch Ness Green, which those two are really only available on the Gems and Universes, and then the Hunter Orange paint that was available on the 560. I think it was originally Carotene Orange, and then they changed it to Hunter Orange, but these were all Dayglow finishes. So, I mean, they do kind of, if you just stare at them, they appear almost like they're glowing. You know, they're like extreme high visibility colors. This has the stock neck pickup still, which is at the time in '87, I think, was actually just the V1. It wasn't the V7 and V8 setup yet. It was like a V1 and V2, which was kind of based on a DiMarzio, sort of like the Ibanez's take on a DiMarzio pickup, but I'm not sure exactly which one. Then the S1 in the middle, which they've used forever. And then it's got a Duncan in the bridge. Somebody put a Duncan in the bridge. I can't remember which model it is either because I haven't taken it apart since I got it. But it was kind of an odd one. It was one I wasn't expecting. A pretty bright and crispy sounding one. Saw the yellow. Yeah, they recently came back out with the Genesis series reissues of these in this color, which is Road Flare Red, the Desert Sun Yellow, purple neon, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like almost a flip-flop purple that changes between sort of a purple and blue to a pinkish color depending on the angle. And then white, I believe. They made a couple other models. They make a 7-string at the moment in the Desert Sun Yellow as well. What is it a 752M? Is that the model? Yeah, I think it's either the 752 or the 762. Maybe it's Math Metal Monday. That's definitely more of a rich sound than running. Yeah, the Piz de Yawit. It's a lot more toothy. I definitely don't want the low cut with the Piz de Yawit. guys hear any clipping out there? Because it looks like we're clipping a hair on the slobs meter. My actual mic pre out here is doing okay. We're not clipping over here. But we're just pushing it. A tiny bit on here. Alright, let's try bringing it. Bringing it down a hair there. Move the vocal mic a little bit. I think it's getting hit a little bit hard from the cab, which is contributing to it some. Yes, we're just about capping the meter with the guitar, but voice is still. Is voice level okay? Bring this down a little over here. The Emma is definitely a lot more aggro. Alright, what do we got? Alright, so we got Blue Oyster Cult. We've got Allocu... Is this the sin you were talking about? I was going to ask. I was gonna ask what sin you were talking about earlier. Hey, Ophisad's got a request in there, and he hasn't even said anything in chat yet, bruh. Ow, man, nose is itching like crazy. You out there lurking? Let's see. Well, I guess we'll start from the top. Oh, Lord. It's pretty ridiculous, though. Like, basically every single stream, like full stream that I've uploaded to YouTube so far has gotten hit with copyright claims and been demonetized because of, like, 5 seconds of some song we've listened to creeping through in the background that you can barely hear. So a few of them so far I've successfully used. They have like, you know, you can either trim it out, you can replace it, or you can use their little like mute song or remove song option. So they've got this new option that's in beta that supposedly just removes the offending song somehow. I guess it like selectively nukes those frequencies or something. And a couple of them have worked so far in terms of removing the song and then getting the copyright claim removed. But some of the others it seems to have a harder time with. Well, I mean, Twitch, they'd have to have live bots essentially monitoring every stream, really, unless you mean they're just doing it on the VODs. But I mean, Twitch has a much finer line to tread because, you know, they would pretty much just lose a ton of people that make them money. Like YouTube doesn't care. Bye bye. So it's got sort of a flanger sweeping across it. Need a little bit darker tone. Let's bring the treble down a little. Oh yeah, I said the F word. Where's their bot for that? I don't know though. I would think just having music in your stream would not be a reason to have a VOD. I mean, like, they already have the ones that auto mute sections of it if there's something that's like really a problem. It seemed like if your VODs got deleted, you'd have to do something major. Let's get the tempo of this right. So all this really is, this is just the open E string, and then we're coming to 3rd fret on the B string and pulling off to open. A couple other places you could play that too. That'd be playing the 5th fret, the E at the 5th fret on the B string, and then playing 7th fret on the G, 4th fret on the G. But it doesn't have enough snap to be up there. It's got to be down here. Alright, so then bending up, or we're starting off, we're using the E minor scale. And we're bending up from D up to E. So it sounds like E, B, C, D. Oh no, it's GC. then D, D, C, B. So. So D, C, B. So E, bending D up to E. Then G, C, D, B, C. Then we're back to the E. G, C, D, D flat. So yeah, D, D flat, C, ba, ba, ba. So this would be 15th fret on the B string, bend it up a whole step. Then 12 on the G string, 13 on the B. Then I back up to 15, 13, 12. Then we start with the bend again. Then the second time we go up to 15 and we're going to go 15, 14, 13. So. And our chords are pretty much mimicking that. This sounds like we're going to get into the blues scale. Imagine that. Oh wait, I should update the title. Ah, Ye Gads Blues Scale. I actually heard someone say Ye Gods in a movie today. Oh man, I wish I knew the alt character for the umlaut on top of the O. I don't know if you can use it in the title or not. Yeah, pretty much. That's that. I mean, that's the whole reason the emote exists. Is just because everything is the blues scale. Movie from maybe about 1960. It was called The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. It was the only movie that Dr. Seuss ever wrote. Like actually wrote as a movie, not one of his stories that was turned into a movie later on or something. And it was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Bow, 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 bow. I kind of think it's played there because it sounds a little twangier than if it were played up at the 12th fret. Alright, so we're going to get... So this is all E minor blues scale shape. and I'm playing the 12th fret on both the B and G strings together. And I'm kind of ba-da, using my left hand to damp them out after I hit them, so it makes them kind of punchy. As opposed to then I'm just right back to my root here. So and it's starting to come in kind of while that last note is ringing out. When it gets back to that root, slides down. Down into the open position, mostly, it sounds like. Oh man, I thought you were gonna say Lithuania and Azerbaijan. Also, what's up, Priest? How are you? And so this is all just kind of noodly sort of here, down here in the open blues scale position. So we have licks like this. That's actually a decent point. So, if the crappiness of it is a positive quality, does that mean we should be looking for the countries with the worst black metal? Haven't heard of the Sri Lankan black metal scene? To be quite honest, fam, I'm predominantly interested in the Bhutanese black metal scene. I keep dropping my friggin' pick today. More than normal. What is going on? What is going on? I'm all discombobulated. Right, so all that is pretty much just straight up minor blues scale, E minor blues scale, and as long as you sort of can create phrases with it, you can kind of do whatever you want. But just tag that sort of ending there where he's grabbing the open string, open E, then landing on the D on the B string, and then just giving it a little vibrato. Boom, bum, boom. Oh, dude, cool. An actual Sri Lankan black metal band. I'll check it. We'll check that out in a minute. Let's get through this tune first. Boom, boom. A little bit hard to hear, but it sounds like we're starting off with like an open E power chord. Right, and we're kind of doing this little sort of pattern where we're going 0, 0, 2, 3, 2, 0, 2, 3, 2. Then we land in the 3 when we get the ba da da da. And we're going to alternate between that and then the open A power chord. The bass is actually doing a lot of the work in this tune. The bass is really moving. The guitar is fairly static comparatively. Right, you got to work your bar pretty hard too here when it gets in this sort of section. Like you can hear him. Wah, 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 wah. This is just going back and forth between A, G. Doing that a bunch. A, G. G, A, A, G, A, A, G, A, A. The next emote is wah, 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 wah. I don't know how exactly that's an emote. Wah, 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 wah. Unless you literally just mean the words wah, 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 wah. All right, so that whole little section, that whole little like chorus there is pretty much just straight up A, G, A, G. And then G, A. The Parker Fly emote, dude. I mean, Keep has popped in a couple times over the last couple weeks, which is surprising because I hadn't seen him in so long. You know, but if he wants to do it, we got to have him. Like he's got to talk and be like, "Hey, bro, I'm here. Let me make that emote." He should be just about done with school, though. I think he said when he popped in at some point last week that he was almost done. Kid, I like how you use the word kid. You're both like, well on your way to being old men. Right, and then we're back into that sort of little intro lift. Or if we're playing it as chords. Yep, Alec, you're breaking down right before our eyes. Ba-da-da. All right, so then same verse riff again. Yeah, black tea is actually the best tea, though, for real. Green tea just tends to take too much like grass for me. Alright, so this is all the same. This is all the same, so we're coming out of that last little verse lick back into the A, G. I'm not a big fan of things like jasmine tea. I'm not a big fan of most kind of herbal flavored or scented teas. I just don't care for it, I like a good like sort of Irish breakfast, a really strong malty black tea, or like Lapsang Souchong. I do like Lapsang Souchong. It's really nice and smoky. But the stuff that gets really floral, I tend to not care for. Alright, so this is all the same. G. Back to that intro riff. Right, so then guitar solo. Anybody want to take any guesses as to what scale the guitar solo is in? Oh, precisely. So it starts off. Let's see, let's back it up. Ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-da. So it's down here in the open position mostly. Dude, Ofazad, what'd you do? guitar would actually work really well for country. Get you some weird looks. That's the best part. That doesn't make sense. There's got to be something. Like, busted your data cap. Yeah, torrenting too much. They're anything like American IPs, they just ISPs, they just decided you weren't paying enough. Yeah, we're gonna cut off your service and then make you renew your contract with like 20% more. I'll check it out, Priest. We've got to do one of Alex's requests, and we've got to do. Let's see. Elfasad had something he wanted us to check out, a solo, and then Ride had a death tune that he wanted us to check out. So let me see. Let me copy it, and I'll add it to the. If it'll let me copy it, man. Fucking right click never works right in OBS. Hey, why don't you guys copy that link and put it in the Discord so I can have it in there? Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? All right, let's see, where are we? So all of our solo here is starting off in this open position E minor blues scale. Then it moves up to the 12th position, right? So we get our... Slides right up here. Right, and then he plays this sort of cascading lick where we play like... Then he makes his way back down, slides down into the open position. Kicking it. Yeah, just drop kick your router off the balcony. Boom, boom, boom. So the only thing that's really important here, like it's a very noodly sort of solo, and it's all in one scale, so it's kind of easy to noodle too. The only thing that's really important is when those chords start to hit and we start to get the is that we make sure we land on that sort of outline. And kind of mirror that. He's sort of doubling up on that rhythm on top of those chords. You know, so he's... Right, so then we get a fun harmonic. We get this 5th fret harmonic on the E string up there, right at the end of it. Wrong string. There we go. Right, and then our very first lick comes back. And with a picking hand, again, for that, to make that smooth and get that up to tempo, by the way, I'm using a down for the open E string. Then I'm using an up for the pull off. So I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Right, and that lets us use that alternating motion and actually get that moving pretty quickly, even though it may be a little backwards from the way you might initially think it would be. And then we have our... that riff again. Right, then our verse riff again. The band covers a band you don't know. Yeah, it's always I always appreciate it a lot more when they really change it up, like when they really do something different with it. You know, it's pretty boring, and I think, in a way, almost disrespectful to a piece of music to do it like slavishly exactly the same way or as close as you possibly can to the way it was originally done. Unless you're in a cover band. If you're in a cover band, then you kind of got to do it the way they did it. But like if you're making a cover as its own musical statement, you know, to throw on your album in the middle of your originals or something, then do it differently. Do it your own way. The best ones find a way to like either keep the same vibe but totally change everything around it, or take it in a completely different direction that you won't expect. You know, either like finding a different way to approach the sort of to approach the sort of artistic or emotional content or perspective of a song, while keeping it intact, or just like going in a direction that nobody could have expected with it. No. We'll just do a fingerstyle arrangement of Stairway and figure out how to play the melody and the chords at the same time. Do something interesting with it. Someone would have to throw a pretty big chunk of cash my way to get me to just play Stairway straight up. Alright, so this is all the same as it was the first time. So this is all the same as the previous verses. Then Blue Cheer versus Eddie Cochran. I'm gonna go with the Rush version. The Rush cover of a cover. The Perfect Circles cover of What's Going On. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's almost as good as Disturbed's cover of The Sounds of Silence. The sound of silence. No, for real though, I actually do prefer the Eddie Cochran version. The question is, what about Disturbed's cover of The Land of Confusion, which is a Genesis cover, but really when Genesis was like a not even good cover band of themselves. You refer to Genesis in the plural or the singular? Apparently, an entire like generation of musicians have made some kind of careers out of making like really slow and morose covers of classic rock songs. Watch any video game announce trailer for examples of this, especially if you've got a female vocalist. Especially. Well, I mean, Phil Collins was with the band when they were actually good, too, when they were 10 of 10. Absolutely choice. He just usually wasn't singing. He was just hitting stuff. Pretty well, though. Disturbed karaoke? No. That sounds, Actually, I can pretty much imagine what that's like. Having known people that were unironic Disturbed fans. All right, let's see. We're almost done with this tune. Let's finish this tune up, and then we'll get on to something else. All right, then we have that intro riff again. All right, so doing the intro lick again. Then it sounds like we're just going to go down farther from there, chromatically. So we're going to do the high D, D, or D, D flat, C, and then we're going to go down to G, G, G flat, F, E. And our chords, obviously, they mirror that. And then a bunch of blues scale noodling kind of fading out. Didn't Rusty make a command that provided ooh ah 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 whenever you typed it? Better not play that. Might attract the wrong crowd to the stream. Then pretty much just feedback on the way out, it sounds like. All right. So, Alec requested 3 different Metallica tunes. We'll just do one of them right now. Hey, Rusty's online in Discord. His butt ought to get in here and say what up. Socially friendly. I mean, I think those two, if you made a Venn diagram, those two would be almost a perfect circle. Almost. What's worse is being one of those people that are like, oh yeah, no, Disturbed sucks, they're awful, but I do really like their covers. You know, like the only ones they play on the radio, really. Being that guy, you can't even commit to being a Disturbed fan. Alright, so let's see. Alec put up either The Thing That Should Not Be, The Call of Cthulhu, or Dream No More. I'm not familiar with Dream No More, so that must be in one of the newer ones, which I haven't listened to anywhere near as much. And then we have a solo from Ofasad. We've got the Death Tune from Ride. And then we've got the what is it? The Devil's Blood, which was the one that Priest posted. Alec posted in the Discord for me. So, what do you guys think between those 3 Metallica tunes? We'll do one of those. We'll do one of those, and then we'll keep moving on. Hey, Zompaul, what's up? Yeah, just do Enter Sandman all night long. Every stream. See how much I can remember that from memory, because I used to know that one. Oh yeah, that's a good call. Thing is lower. So yeah, we'll do Cthulhu. We'll do Call of Cthulhu. Just stopping through and exhausted. What you been up to? Yeah, just play the intro. You don't even play the rest of the song. We just go. You have to play it wrong though. That's really what we got to do. We have to play it incorrectly. We have to play like. Just for infinity. Need to get a looper just to do that, just to loop that part forever. Ah, man, sorry to hear that, dude. How can we make that version of Enter Sandman worse? Aside from being out of tune, I mean, we could always just make it out of tune, but that's lazy. Oh, yeah, effects. That's a good call. Let's put a delay on it, make it way too loud. start getting accidental like polyrhythms from it. No, wait, that actually sounds cool. It starts to turn into some kind of like a... It starts to turn into some sort of post-rock wall of noise. Cathedral reverb, you say? No, that still just turns it into post-rock. I need more annoying effects. I need, you know, flangers or choruses or something like that with the depth with too much depth and too much rate. I think that's the actual trick. The sort of spatial effects, well, they just add space to it. They sort of change the vibe. They don't necessarily make it obnoxious. Never know. No, there are definitely things that will annoy me, effects that would annoy me trying to play something like that. Michael 2062, yeah, the reverb was pretty cool. Honestly. I mean, like, ginormous reverb with the decay all the way up. Also, welcome to the stream, by the way. Have you been here before? Yeah, we can get some. I can break out a flanger to make it really obnoxious. That's not really tonight's goal. I think we're just kind of down a rabbit hole at the moment, trying to see how stupid we can make the intro to Enter Sandman. I mean, I do have some stuff that'll do reverse, but it's easier just to do reverse effects with the volume knob. Also, why did Nightbot kill the comment about the flanger? What the heck? How many times do I have to tell Nightbot that the word flanger is allowed in a guitar stream? What are you doing? Why are you... Yeah, apparently it's a slang term for something offensive in the UK. But I mean, you would think, like, every single time somebody says it, it says allow or deny, and I say allow, and then it says added permitted term, flange, flanger, flanging, you know, whatever the variation is. And then the next time somebody uses it, I get the same stupid thing. Yeah, see, look, exactly. Automod has held a message from Kaz. For reason, sexual. Allow will post it to chat. I don't know why I didn't do that for Michael's message about the flanger. Now everybody's just gonna keep saying flange. to get their message held. Also, what's up, Kaz? How are you? This is pretty much just like a Godspeed version of a Godspeed version of Inner Sandman. Needs to be slower though. It needs to have spoken word on top of it in a serious voice. Say your prayers, little one. Don't forget, my son, to include everyone. What? How do you know? Also, you can't post that stuff on Craigslist anymore. Exit light. Enter night. Alright, I guess we should play actual metal now. Instead of trying to create goofy arrangements of Inner Sandman. I do see stuff like if you ever go in the like the photography section looking for cameras and things like that, there's always a bunch of people trying to sell feet pics in there. Which seems like a weird section to sell it in. I mean, yeah, I know, okay, photography, photos, whatever, but why feet pics? I guess maybe the images are innocuous enough to where it doesn't get caught by doesn't get caught by any of like the bots or anything or the filters. Alright, so we're going to do Call of Cthulhu. Let's update our title. Oh dear. Alright, let's see. Can I condense the side of the image? And this song's super long, but it repeats, and mostly just repeats the same parts kind of over and over and over, so we'll just go through the main parts. We need to get to a clean sound. Alright, then let's dial in. So I'm going to dial in like a kind of light chorus. Ba-da-da-da. Sounds like a winner there, man. Right, so we've got the open D underneath. I like how AutoMod doesn't catch that, of course. So basically we were like moving up from the D minor to like, sounds like an E diminished. Ba 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 da ba do. Ba-da-da-da. You've led you lead an interesting life, a very interesting life, for better or for worse. Just being adjacent to it, man. definitely don't have that E as the low note. Da 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Da 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 da. So the question is, which position of the fingerboard are the chords playing as we move up through them? Because we're essentially just shifting up kind of through like ba. Good grief. Writing a whole novel, man. I don't know if I want to know the most messed up thing. I'm not sure. I am not sure at all. Ba-da-da-da. You can almost hear, if you slow it down, you can hear like the leading tone inside of that. Interesting. Interesting. Da 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 da. Da. And you've got everybody. You've sucked everybody into your web here. Can't even focus on what to do. What am I even doing? Jeez, man. Jeez, man. That's ridiculous. My only chance. Oh no, not my only chance. At the moment, we're working on a Metallica tune, but we do have a cue if you'd like to get in line. We're working on a Metallica tune, and then we're going to do a death tune, and then we're going to do, we have requests for these already, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, that people are participating, but unfortunately, they're kind of ahead of you in line, man. But you're welcome to hang out and jam with us for a while. Then we have a death metal tune too, or a black metal tune. But we should be going for quite a while, at least another hour and a half, so we got plenty of time. Plenty of time. Lol. Yeah, that's it. That's I'm the one. Not the guy just jumping into other people's streams and demanding things of them. Oh, that's close, getting it. Da, 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 da. Wonder if that's the right fingering, though. Da, da. Do, da, do, da, do, da, da, do, da, do. There we go. I gotta remember to get that bass note, or that change in the bass note there. There we go. Ba, ba, ba. Alright, and so then it sounds like we're moving up to a B flat, just over top of that D. That D's still ringing out. So then does our bass note move up to the B flat too? Boom, boom, boom. Then we move that up another whole step to a C. So our bass note, we only changed the bass note on the first one. Then do da do do da do. All right, then our higher treble note changes a little bit though. So do do. Da, da, do, da, do, da, da. And so I got this little D minor shape. This is just 7, 5, or 6, 5. Then we have a B flat shape, little three string shape again. 7, 6, 6. Then Move up a whole step to C, 9, 8, 8. Ah, come on. Then gotta think about it. It's one of those parts where the more you think about it, the more you're likely to mess it up. Da 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 da. Yeah, probably. I don't know if it's. I don't know. Remember if this is, or know if this is picked or played fingerstyle. I mean, it's much easier to play fingerstyle than it is picked. But or at least maybe hybrid pick like that, right? So, like using the pick for like the stuff on the D string, and then fingers for the stuff on the B and the B and the E. Then up to B flat. Gotta remember that bass note switching though. That's like throwing me for a loop. Just forgetting to switch on that D. Switch the D to the A. Yeah, I'm starting to get it though. It's definitely down here. It's not as too dark if you play it up there. Nah. There we go. There we go. Just have to practice it a bunch to get it smooth, get it up to speed. Yeah, you mentioned that last week. I think that you're having lung problems. But always happy to have you stop by and chat for a while. You definitely keep the chat interesting, man. But hope you get to feeling better. Hope things get to going better for you in your real life, man. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you get your stress levels elevated through something like that, and it's not pleasant. On top of just apparently the madness of all of it, going by what you've said. Almost wonder if that's like an add 9 shape. Rather than barring those down there. Interesting, an interesting thought. A little cumbersome comparatively, though. Alright, so we cycle through that. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Last time it's slightly different. It sounds like we just kind of stop here. Burning yourself. Well, hopefully there's not too many things that can be. Hopefully. At least not in a meaningful manner. There may have been a red flag. Maybe. It's actually not that fast. I keep trying to play it too fast. And 1 and 2 and... There we go. So you gotta not get guitar player syndrome and not try to play everything faster than it needs to be. Alright, so this is the part that I kind of remember from a million years ago. And this is actually sort of an antecedent. You actually find this a lot in Metallica stuff. You find these kind of riffs that foreshadow some other riffs later on, some more famous riffs. And this one is actually very, very similar to the Enter Sandman riff. If we look at its sort of shape. It's moved to the A string instead of on the E string, right? But and then this is just a half step higher than it would be. just kind of picking through all of them at this point. All right, and then we're going to get this walk up over D. Right, we have the open D underneath all of it going boom, boom, boom. We have these little chord fragments, these little partial chords moving up. Nope. Do. Alright, so it sounds like these two notes are staying the same, and it's just a note that's on the G string that's moving. So we're starting off with like an open D minor shape. Then we're moving this up a G string up a half step, which gives us like a D minor augmented, or we could look at it as like a B flat in the first inversion. Da. Then we're moving it up another half step. So we have to change to this shape. It gives us this kind of diminished chord. Then the last one moves up. I'll have to listen and work and get that last one right. So not quite. Ba-da-dum. No, why are you going? Just quit skipping forward a song. Ba, ba, ba. Well, that's pretty close. So our high note, it sounds like, becomes an A. Okay, yeah, so then we move up to, I mean, this could be a couple different things. This could be like a D7 or like a D minor 7 type voicing, depending on how we want to look at it. But this is 5, 3, 5. So O, 2, 3, 1, O, 3, 3, 1, O, 4, 3, 1, O, 4, 3, 5. So And the band comes in. All right, and the distorted guitar starts to come in, so we can switch. Start to get over on a gain sound. Let's bring a reverb down a little. So the lead guitar starts to come into the background, and we start to get this. Starts to sort of walk up the D minor scale. Right, and then we start to hit our full blown. All right, and so then we're going to come in on a D power chord. Bring our treble down a little for this. So this is all the same notes, all the same chords, just with distortion and really heavily palm muted. Right, so. So the exact same thing over again. And the rhythm guitar is just playing. A, E to E flat. So the rhythm guitar is super simple. Yeah, the rhythm guitar there is even easier. It's just taking this open D power chord and then moving the second tone up one fret at a time. while the other guitar plays the full chords. All right, so then when they both kick in, they both start playing that rhythm part together. At the very end of it, they come back up to the E. All right, and so then we get for the rhythm here. The DVD. I was wondering if somebody would notice. They're obviously kind of blurry because of the crappy webcam. But yeah, I went and dug out a bunch of horror DVDs and lined the sofa behind me with them. And get out of the way of some of them. There's a bunch more, and poor Carnival of Souls fell off behind the couch somewhere, so I'm gonna have to try to fish that out later. So just doing the same thing. All right, finally get to something different here. Yep, all three of those are in there. There's some that are a lot more obscure in there. Jacob's Ladder's a good spot though. I don't expect most people to know that one. Yeah, it's pretty up there. I mean, it's not exactly a war movie. You know, it's like or not in the same sense of something like Platoon anyway. You know, but then in another sense it very much is. Still haven't got stuff sorted out there, man. So do war movies instead of teaching. Yeah, because war movies are the most accurate, especially American war movies. I mean, there are obviously some really great ones. You know, West Front 1918? Gallipoli. Paths of Glory. Downloaded shortcuts. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson stuff is really, really, really heavy on the Altman references. I mean, I think in a lot of ways he's been essentially trying to make Robert Altman movies for quite some time. He gets a little more edgy than most Altman stuff did, but like a lot of his language is very much the same. Work. Never. Just lay around and stare at the ceiling. Yeah, I can see that too. I think aesthetically probably there's still probably more Altman cues than Scorsese cues in there though, and a little bit of Godard. There's also a lot of like Punch Drunk Love is covered with Godard. Alright, so let's see, the part that we're in now is moving down to E. Alright, so we're down to an E power chord, and then we're going to go A, B, C, then we're going to land in an F power chord. Then we're going to do the same A, B, but the rhythm is slightly different. Then an F sharp and a C, so we're going to get this tritone. Then we're going to walk up A, B, C, D, and land in a G power chord. If you're watching like genuinely good films, you engage with them and you don't feel bored, you don't feel anxious. You know, you really get immersed in them. But you sort of have to learn to do that, or learn to let yourself do that, you know, to put the phone down and like actually focus on what you're seeing and hearing. then the second guitar is going to come in. Don't. Alright, so it's going to start off on A in the A minor scale. A, B, C, B, A, F. No, I haven't taken that one on yet. They put that on Criterion Channel last month. And so I put it in my watch list, and it's kind of sitting there like when are you going to go for this? You know, I just watched La Belle Noiseuse, some Rivette, which was about a little over, or right around 4 hours long, I think. And that flew by. I mean, like it was nothing. Which is pretty amazing, given that it's a movie, you know, about a guy painting, and the vast majority of the movie is literally the model sitting there and him painting or drawing or scratching and whatever. But it just felt like nothing to be 4 hours long. So most of the Bela Tarr films I've seen, though, have definitely been like clearly, consciously slow. You know, they have not felt like films that that moved quickly despite their length. Similar to some Tarkovsky stuff, you just got to sit there and look at it. So I am a little concerned about that one, but I will get around to it sooner or later. There's some other crazy long stuff on there too, though. Like they have the complete Berlin Alexanderplatz by Rainer Werner Fassbinder, which is like 15 or 16 hours or something, and they have, you know, the Human Condition, which is about 9 hours totaled up. Though technically 3 separate films, they're all meant to be watched together. What else? War and Peace, the old War and Peace, that's like 8 or 9 hours. So there are several super long pieces on there. The thing with those, well, another reason though that I haven't watched as many of the super long ones is because stuff like that you almost want to watch with somebody. You want to like have you know, like a party or something with other friends who are movie nerds, and sit down and kind of watch them, or at least parts of them, and experience them all as a group, you know. So you have somebody to sort of share that experience with. Did it? I can't remember. I feel like the Decalogue came out as like a serialization, like in little chunks, didn't it? Or am I thinking of another one? Because I mean, if it came out asynchronously, then I wouldn't necessarily feel the pressure to watch it all simultaneously or watch it all sequentially. You know, it's kind of like Romero's Moral Tales. You know, they came out kind of scattered over a series of years, and some people say you should watch them all in a row. You should just sit down and watch them all back to back to back to back. But I kind of feel like, you know, he took what, like 10 or 15 years at least to release all of them, or to make all of them. So I don't feel like you should feel the same pressure to watch them all together. I mean, in order, sure, if you're going to watch them, but so, well, good you got it fixed anyway. Yeah, we did the Stairway to Heaven solo, and I played the entire thing with my nose. It was more challenging than expected. No, not nose. My pick's way over there now. I'm getting another one. Screw that pick. It has not wanted to stay in my hand all night. Alright, so. That's what got Ryan and I kind of started on the thing we were just talking about. He noticed the movies back there. Yeah, I thought for the week of Halloween I'd break out some of the movies from my horror collection and use them as a background for when I move around. I haven't actually. Is the Ghost of Tsushima out? Like, it looked pretty cool. The previews looked pretty cool. The dude, the random white dude playing a shakuhachi was kind of dorky at the big announcement thing. What's the Kurosawa option? Just put the whole game in. That's a totally relatable experience. Every now and then I try to make them watch them, and they usually just wind up going, "What was the point of that movie?" Especially my dad, who has absolutely no sense of whimsy whatsoever. You know, he basically just wants to watch westerns and film noirs, and that's about it. Everything else is pointless and weird. I mean, there's plenty. Well, I don't say plenty, but there's certainly color Kurosawa. I mean, something like Dreams, his last film, it has gorgeous color. Or Dersu Urasawa. Now, if they'd had like a Kobayashi option, I think all of his films were black and white. Speaking of black and white Japanese films, the other night I watched Kuroneko, which was pretty amazing. And actually not long before that, maybe 2 weeks ago, I watched Ugetsu, which was pretty great too. I was expecting Kuroneko to be a lot cheesier than it was, though. It was actually kind of minimalist in a lot of ways and really interesting. Alright, so let's see, we're in this bridge section. No, so they've gotten over that. What really pisses them off? What really pisses them off is if I show them like a Ken Loach film, like we watched Kess, and we watched what was the one? The one about the pirate. Oh man, forgotten the name of it now. But they're like, you know, they're all these like Yorkshire, these like north and northwest British accents, and they are completely incomprehensible. So if I show them anything from there, like anything that has like either natural Yorkshire dialects or Scottish dialects or Irish dialects where it's technically in English, but they're not used to hearing it, they get so mad, so upset about it. I can't understand anything these people are saying. Why are we watching this? Which actually, I mean, I do know a couple guys from like Harrogate and another guy from Leeds, and they're pretty much like, yeah, you know, if you go like 10 minutes outside of the city, we can't understand anybody here either. Beck? No, what do you mean by Beck? I can't think of anything called Beck off the top of my head aside from the guy. Wake and Fright. I have to be very judicious in what I show them. You know, they've gotten to where like they almost distrust what I'm going to pick because they think it's going to be weird. Even though in most cases weird just means, you know, not a Hollywood movie. Like I have I have the Bergman box set, like the complete Bergman box set, and they won't watch. I haven't got them to watch any of those. Which, you know, it's kind of weird because they're very religious. You'd think they would like some of the Bergman stuff because Bergman is, you know, just kind of innately religious in a way. Alright, so then our scale, it sounds like we move up another octave. Alright, so... So then we move to the A minor blues scale. Alright, that's where the bad fret is on this guitar, unfortunately. It's got a little divot in it, like right in the fret, and it chokes out. But that's all just like straight up blues scale, straight A minor blues scale. Just kind of making his way up and down, up and down, and up and down. Then it sounds like he shifts to the D minor blues. Starts playing little D minor arpeggios on top of it. We're back to the rhythm part. That's the same as before. That bridge is the same as before. Now then there it moves up a whole step. All right, so we go back through basically another verse in the rhythm section. Again, then when we get to the bridge section, after we do that twice, we move it up a whole step. Then we move it up a half step. Then we move it up to A. So we move it up a whole step from there. So we're going to gradually, when we get to that second time through that bridge section, then we move up a half step to G. Then we move up a whole step to A, same thing. Then straight up Black Sabbath. All right, and we're back into the main riff. So rhythm guitar is just hitting a D power chord, D, D. Then it basically drops down into an E minor with this high G held down on the 3rd fret. Alright, so then up to G, down to F sharp. So harmony guitar comes in, E natural minor scale. Little variations, basically, all kind of in this little 7 to 12 area. The rhythm guitar is still just playing. And that's basically just little different inversions of a D. Then we're back to her. Alright, so that very last one is a little different. So that little trill at the very end, or that little mordant. And this is just a big power chord. So D, C, D, B flat, D, F, D. The lead guitar just kind of noodles up the D minor scale with tremolo picking. Then you hit a big D power chord to end it. Yeah, probably mine too, I would say. I played it. I played it a lot, especially the sort of that bit a lot as a kid. All right, let's see. We got about at least 20 some minutes left. So let's see. Ofasad had one he wanted me to listen to the solo for. So let's check it out. Especially since his internet's working now. Oh, Lord. Let's see. So the solo is at like 540. Lord Almighty. So it starts off, it's actually pretty similar to the original solo when it begins. Right, mostly pentatonic sort of stuff. It starts to throw in those little arpeggios as he gets towards the end of it. Sounds like it's a half step down though. Doodle-down. Doodle-down. Yeah, I mean, it's not anything crazy. Choking out. Probably the only thing like that's really, really technical or really super technical in there is that arpeggio. Most of the rest of it tends to just be kind of blues scale sort of stuff like the original one, and then these little sort of little ascending tremolo picked phrases. You know, But the wah definitely covers up a lot of it too. Now not sure about that fingering though. It definitely starts in this fingering, but I think it may drop down to there instead of here. Little harmony part. I can't take it. No. No. No Stairway. Oh, Lord. Alright, so we definitely need more saturation for this. Alright, so there's obviously harmonies here, but we're starting off, we're using this Phrygian dominant sort of sound in D. Oh yeah, let's update the title real quick. We'll work on this for at least for a few minutes. I'm starting to get really hungry though. I don't know if you noticed my energy level is kind of dropping. Yeah. Starting to get where you feel like you're kind of like going, sort of like sinking down. Alright, so that would be 7th fret on the G string. Right, and then we're going to 7, 8, then 7, 8 on the B. Then 8 on the G, 8 on the D. 7. Yeah, all of my energy is being absorbed by the paint on this frigging guitar to make it so bright. Is this a whole step down? Because it sounds like after that G, when he lands on that G power chord, he's going to an E flat, and it sounds like a low E flat. It sounds like it's going. Ba, boom. D standard. Okay, so D standard. We put the. I think it's just over there. We put the other Ibanez, the other RG, in D standard the other night. Actually. Oh. Let's grab it real quick. Stick this over here. Twist it up here. Fried eggs and kale. I mean, I do like kale. Man, these pickups are way hotter. Yeah, these are the Ibanez DiMarzios. The what are the F2 and F4. Boom. So they're basically just going to be A. Turn the reverb off for this part, see if we can hear it better. Ba ba da da da. Sounds like we're going up to 4. Let me back that up a little bit. So is it G sharp, then G, B, E, G sharp, G, B. Okay, so we drop down into the fast part. Just as where do we want to finger that? We want to finger that up here. Probably down here. Probably just stay in this area. D. So E. D, E, F. So O, 2, 3 on the D string. Then power chord on 4 on the E. 3. Then we can either come up to 7, or we can play 2 on the next string. So, let's try. Actually, I'm gonna try it with. I'll try it with the pedal here, because this pedal's a little more. A little more death sounding. I don't think I've ever seen a Russian restaurant. So what's the timing for that? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 and... Probably on the same string to get that transition smooth. Then 0, 2, 1. 0, 4, 3. 0, 2, 1. Yeah, that's it. Historical insufficiency in their cuisine is what makes their music angry. Alright, so then... Oh, dude, what's the name of that Icelandic shark dish that's like 100-year-old fermented shark? Alright, so then it sounds like we're going, oh, then we're moving to the A string, 2, 3, then 0, 3, 1, 2, or 3, 2, 1, Hakari. Yeah, you should. I've seen a few things with people attempting to eat it. Right, so that's just the same sort of thing. Picks up the rate of picking a little bit though. And we're just going E, B, C, G, E, B, C, G. Then it moves up to F sharp, G, G sharp, C. Then back to same riff as the verse riff before, but now instead of playing power chords, it's playing them sort of like tremolo picks, sort of black metal style. Uh-oh, beer time. Then back to that bridge section. 0, 2, 1, 0, 4, 3, 0, 2. Then back to the E, B, C, G, A, B, same thing. E. So then, same chords again. Just picking up the rhythm a little bit. Then back up to the F sharp. And this is just going F sharp, 2nd fret, G, G sharp, G, F. Then F sharp, G, G sharp, C, E, F sharp. And the solo, it sounds like it's in B minor. It's really hard to hear because it's kind of buried up underneath everything. Alright, so our chord progression there underneath the solo shifts to B, F sharp, B, F sharp, B, then C sharp diminished, then G, F sharp, then all of our solo becomes just like the B natural minor scale, and he's just kind of like shredding, just wanking like crazy on top of it. You know, got no saturation at all with this pedal, so doesn't work super great for soloing. It's more of a rhythm oriented pedal, but if you can follow the B natural minor, you'll find something that works here. Right, then we're back into the F sharp, G, G sharp, C. So. And it just stops on the last C. That's the most fun part, honestly. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, let's take a quick look at Priest Tune, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. All right, so we have hopefully it's not in a goofy tuning either. Come on, YouTube. All right, sounds like it's an E. All right, so let's swap back to something in standard. I guess should I get the other RG just so we have like an all RG night? Stick this one over here. Is back behind the amp. All RGs all night long. This is actually my favorite one. Heather Pearl was the official color name. Yep, this is an 88. The black one I think is a 90, an 89 or a 90. So one guitar is just hitting a big E minor. Then the other guitar is playing a little higher chord pattern. So a couple places we can play that. We can play it up here. Probably around the 12th fret, I would think. Do da do. Too saturated though, gotta back off a little bit. Let's get a little more high end, a little less low end. A little bit of reverb. Oh yeah, we need to update our title. Still too much gain now. Getting close. that drops a little bit lower. Do da do, do da do. It do be like that sometimes. Alright, so we have this little like minor pentatonic, E minor pentatonic lick. So we've got a little E minor shape. Kind of like we're outlining like an E minor chord. We could do it down here too, or up here, like any number of different places. Probably the most natural place is up here, and it sounds like it has a little bit of that roundness to it, which you don't really get if you do it down here, but not as much as if you do it up here. Well, so like when I'm trying to assess what particular part of the fingerboard a phrase is being played on, if it's something that can be played in several places, that is, I start listening for like sort of timbral changes. So as we get closer to a string's endpoint, like the nut, we're going to get less overtones coming off of the string and more of the fundamental, and that's going to make the string sound kind of twangier and brighter. So like if I play this phrase down here, or let's do it with a clean sound. It's easier to hear with a clean sound. And then I move it up to, say, the 7th fret. Right, we hear that it suddenly gets more or it gets less twangy, it gets less stringy, less bright, less edgy. So down here, 3rd fret. 7th fret. If we go all the way up to the 12th fret, it's going to get even more kind of rounded off and even less edgy and stringy, because we're getting a lot more overtones up here. So I'm going to play the exact same phrase in these different places, and it's going to have a different sort of timbre to it, a different character to it, even though it's the same notes. Versus. Versus. Like we can hear, it's much stringier, much edgier here. Even more up here. Oh, we're so close to the pickup there, it's kind of robbing a lot of the strings energy. So when I'm listening, I'm trying to sit there and figure out, like, okay, well, wait a minute, where is he playing this? What fingering of E is he using to play this? Right, and I'll go, okay, this has got a really edgy sound to it, so this is probably lower on the fingerboard. This has got a really kind of rounded or smooth or kind of thick tone to it, so this is probably farther up on the fingerboard. And then this obviously being sort of in between. I mean, there's language. There's obviously things that you hear and connections that you make in your head when you hear a sound. You know, whether it be bright, dark, round, thin, stringy, twangy, edgy, buttery, creamy, you know, rich, harsh, whatever they are. You have all these things that your brain is thinking when you hear particular sounds. Kind of learning how and when and where to get all of those and to manipulate those. It's actually pretty important to sort of finding sounds that you like, and also when you're doing this, to figuring out sort of the right way and place to play it to make it sound right. So now we're get it back up to tempo. So we're just kind of in this little E minor shape here at the 7th fret. Just over and over and over and over again. Right, until we get to where the lyrics come in. No, don't. Man, they need to put the skip button somewhere else. E Alright, so we have like an E minor, then an A major, then a C, then E, D, E. So then like a C major 7. Then like E minor 7. So alright, so that part is going to be E, D, D, E, E, G, G, E, E, D, D, E, E, B, B. So and our guitar is just kind of like moving through the chords, doing these little unison bends. Alright, then we have our intro riff again. Slightly different rhythm. What are you, a cat now? This is just sitting on E. Just kind of trilling down here. For quite a while. G, E. So this part's just going back and forth between G. Drug music? It's got a little stonery vibes. It reminds me of a Swedish stoner metal band. I think they were Swedish. They might have been Norwegian. Was it Captain Dog? They have this sort of sound where they sound kind of like 70s, early 80s metal, but a little more psychedelic, a little more drony, a little more druggy. This guy's vocals are more kind of towards the King Diamond side of thing, though. But like musically, it's got kind of a similar vibe. Whatever was in your beer and or pizza, apparently you're having a good time with it, so that's good. These are female vocals? Really? Like seriously? Should probably click the about thing. Farida Lamucci. Just vamping back and forth between those two, between G and E. And we're getting, you know, of course, some E minor blues scale noodling on top of it. Because, you know, can't resist. Alright, so then that was C major 7, D, C major 7, E minor, C major 7, D, D. So. Then that's just our same vamp. E minor, D, E minor, G, E minor, D, E minor, B7 or B. That same vamp as before. Same chords, keeps going. All right, so then there, that time, E minor, D, G, B7. goes to the G before it goes to the B7. Then lands on an E minor. That was pretty cool, though. Another one for Mr. Everything must be Polish or Icelandic black metal. Black metal, that was pretty different, really. I mean, that could have been straight out of like 1980. Well, really more like 1983. But really cool. All right. We've been going, holy moly, we've been going for almost 4 hours, 3:40. So I'm going to go find something to eat. We'll be back Wednesday for Weeb Wednesday. But spooky Halloween themes continue. So if you have, you know, like horror animes, horror games, that kind of stuff, break out the soundtracks and tunage from those. An ancient meme. Oh, you're playing a dangerous game because it might be one so ancient you don't even recognize it. Or don't even get it. What you got, Grim? Oh, for Wednesday? Okay. Yeah, I'll see it. It's new. We haven't had anything in Weeb Wednesday since, you know, the 15th or whenever, so we'll definitely know it's new. All right. Yeah, I looked at them. One of them, though, I like the, I kind of like the white, but you do have a point that the orange matches the Booba, who's kind of hiding somewhere else tonight. It's moved. But at this point now, I'm basically just kind of like looking for sales, you know. Get a little bit avant-garde there. Yeah. But then again, I mean, nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to see it on screen. Yeah, that's another thing I was waiting for, that everybody online is you know, going nuts about the new AMD release. So might be able to find some deals, but that's basically just all I'm waiting on, looking for now, is for deals on stuff, because I've got a fairly concrete idea, you know, at least the general way that I'm going, the basic parts and stuff that I want. So now, well, it's looking for deals and waiting for them to be in stock. Beating the bots to them. Well, see, that's what you get. That's what you get with Elon Musk, though. Like, he doesn't actually, like, do anything. He's just a guy that kind of, like, BS's crazy ideas and was fortunate enough to make the money to attempt to try some of them. But sometimes those crazy ideas are just, you know, bad ideas. This guitar has a really fun percussive quality. Like the notes just kind of like pop off of the neck. Makes them a little bit too bright and a little too crispy, really, at least with the stock pickups, but makes them feel really fun to play. Very kind of snappy. Oh, Lord. Anyways, I'll see you guys Wednesday. If you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. If you haven't clicked the follow button, click the follow button. Because, you know, following helps, and we got to get to this freaking goal. Man, we'd get to like 143, 144, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of old accounts would just either unfollow or I guess, you know, get disabled or something like that, and we'd just drop. Like we've been losing. We'd go up and then we'd lose one or two, and then go up and then lose one or two, and go up and lose one or two. It's like we can't get past this like 140, 142-ish area. But anyways, I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Weeb Wednesday, Spooky Weeb Wednesday, Horrific Weeb Wednesday. Get your horror again and horror anime and video game soundtracks and stuff lined up. And I'll see y'all later.